Hello, my name is John Bannon. I'm an attorney and philosopher. Today's video, I'm going to explain how Hanssonian superdeterminism disproves the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. When I speak of Hanssonian superdeterminism, I'm referring to a very unique specific class of superdeterminism proven by Swedish theoretical physicist Dr. Johan Hansson. You can find his proof in the peer-reviewed physics journal Physics Essays, Volume 33, Number 2, June of 2020, pages 216 to 218. Dr. Hansson proved that we live in a fourth-dimensional static block universe without cause and effect in physics, or probabilistic causation in physics. So we live in three dimensions of space and one hidden static dimension of time in a fourth-dimensional block universe. The only thing that's in the block universe, besides nothing, is particles. But those particles are set in place in their location in space time, like pebbles in concrete. They can't be moved, they can't be changed, they're permanent. And this is all a result of the absence of cause and effect in physics. However, the particles do create or exhibit patterns across the dimension of time, which we describe by our logical mathematical laws of physics. Um, the Hanssonian superdeterministic universe, however, requires superdeterministic correlations among all the particles in the static block universe. So all the particles fit within this web of correlated particles or events through the past, present, and future. In a Hanssonian superdeterministic universe, the past, present, and future are equally real, and they all presently exist. However, superdeterministic correlations has this a consequence of disproving the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. So imagine this thought experiment. Fred and Sally go on a dating app run by a quantum computer that must match the couple in order for their future child, Timmy, to exist in the predetermined static dimension of time. Fred, Sally, the dating app, and Timmy are all superdeterministically correlated in the past, present, and future predetermined events of the Hanssonian static block universe. The dating app match is superdeterministically correlated with the predetermined events of the meeting of Fred and Sally, as well as the entirety of the events of Timmy's life. An inherently random quantum computer glitch resulting in Fred and Sally never meeting would create inconsistencies with their future meeting and the future existence of Timmy. Consequently, Hanssonian superdeterminism cannot allow branching due to an inherently random quantum event, like a quantum computer glitch, because that would contradict the past, present, and future predetermined events of the block universe. Because there is no historical dependency among events in an adynamical block universe, such as a Hanssonian superdeterministic universe, then Timmy's future existence requires Fred and Sally's existence just as much as Fred and Sally's existence requires Timmy's future existence. That's because all past, present, and future events are superdeterministically correlated with one another in this web, and they all perfectly fit within those patterns, and nothing else can fit within those patterns. It's unique. So if you take Timmy away from the future, you also take Fred and Sally away from the past. And if you take Fred and Sally away from the past, you take Timmy away from the future. There's no historical dependency. In other words, there's no causal dependency or historical dependency based on a direction in time, preferring the past over the future, for instance. The past and future are both equally dependent on one another's for their existence in a Hanssonian superdeterministic universe. And that's because there's no cause and effect in physics. There's nothing that can cause a historical dependency preferring the past over the future, or even the future over the past, such as in retrocausality. There is no causality, there is no historical dependency, which means past and present events are both dependent on one another for their existence as unique fits within this web of superdeterministically correlated past, present, and future events that are exhibited in the block universe. So, because the future constrains the past exactly as much as the past constrains the future in a Hanssonian superdeterministic universe, then separate branching off the same exact past events is impossible, because only one predetermined future is possible from those past events. So the many worlds interpretation is impossible, because that says you can have multiple futures branching off the same exact past events. But in a Hanssonian superdeterministic universe, that is impossible, because the past events can only have one predetermined future that fits within the entire superdeterministic correlations of the entire block. And therefore, you can't have branching into different possible futures. Um, this is a very powerful point about Hanssonian superdeterminism, the idea of superdeterministic correlations. So I hope you learned this, and I'll give you a second to read the board. Um, so if you hear anybody claim that the many worlds interpretation is true, and that there's this branching of different potential futures in a multiverse, you can know that that is false under Hanssonian superdeterminism, because it's an impossibility without some sort of historical dependency based on physical causation, or just any sort of historical dependency. It doesn't exist. And many worlds has to be wrong. All right, until next time, take care.